Joy doesn't disappear from your life. You slowly walk away from where it lives in the present moment, in your body, in your simple, ordinary now. You wake up, stare at your phone, scroll for a while, and feel nothing. The music you used to love doesn't hit the same. The shows, the parties, the people, even your dreams all feel strangely flat. It's like someone turned the saturation down on reality and forgot to turn it back up. You start to wonder, what's wrong with me? Why does nothing make me happy anymore? You might not say it out loud, but it follows you into the shower, into work, into bed at night when the room is quiet. Life feels like a movie where the sound is slightly out of sync and you can't relax because something feels off. Alan Watts, the philosopher who brought Eastern wisdom to the modern West, would tell you that your problem is not that life has lost its joy. Your problem is that you were trained to look for joy in the one place it can never be found, in the future, in the story of who you think you should be, in the endless chase for more. You've been hypnotized into searching for life everywhere except where it is actually happening. From childhood, you were taught a script. When you get good grades, then you'll be happy. When you get into the right school, then you'll be happy. When you get the partner, the job, the body, the money, then finally, joy will arrive. Your mind learned to stand on tiptoes, always leaning forward, always chasing the next thing, like a dog pulling at its leash. But here is the problem. The moment you finally get what you thought you wanted, your mind quietly moves the finish line again. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. You run and run, but you never arrive. Alan Watts described the same thing in very simple terms. Life is not a journey with a final destination. It is more like music. You don't listen to a song just to hear the last note. You enjoy it as it unfolds. When nothing brings you joy anymore, it is often because you have forgotten how to listen to the song while it's playing. Notice how your mind works when you do something you supposedly enjoy. You're at dinner with someone you like, but your brain is half on your phone. You're on vacation, but you're already thinking about the photos, the comments, the story you'll tell. You're not actually in your life, you're standing next to it, taking notes. It's not that joy is gone, it's that you're not home when joy knocks on the door. Another silent thief of joy is comparison. You scroll through curated highlight reels and unconsciously measure your life against filtered illusions. Your normal Tuesday starts to feel like a failure next to someone else's staged paradise. Alan Watts warned about this. The more you try to become a perfected image of yourself, the less real you feel. The more you chase an image, the more you lose contact with your living, breathing reality. So nothing brings you joy anymore. Not because life is empty, but because the image has replaced the experience. You're not tasting your food. You're judging whether it's aesthetic enough. You're not feeling your body. You're evaluating whether it's attractive enough. You're not meeting people. You're calculating whether they are beneficial enough. Life becomes a transaction, and joy cannot survive in the atmosphere of constant evaluation. And then there is numbness, the quiet shadow behind so many modern lives. Sometimes when nothing brings you joy, it is not because you are broken, but because you are overwhelmed. Your nervous system has been flooded for years. Notifications, deadlines, arguments, expectations, news, noise, stimulation. At a certain point, the system shuts down to protect itself. It stops feeling too high or too low. Everything becomes neutral. Alan Watts often said that we try to feel alive without ever allowing ourselves to feel our sadness, our fear, our loneliness. We want selective aliveness. We want to feel pleasure without ever feeling pain. But the psyche does not work like that. If you push down your grief, your anger, your disappointment, you also push down your capacity for joy. The door that keeps pain out is the same door that keeps joy out. That numbness you fear may actually be a frozen layer sitting on top of everything you haven't processed yet. The modern world also taught you a dangerous lie, that joy must always be intense, dramatic, and mind-blowing to count. If it's not fireworks, if it's not ecstasy, if it's not worthy of a post, then it feels like nothing. But Alan Watts would laugh gently at this addiction to intensity. He would remind you that real joy is not a constant high. Real joy is more like a quiet warmth that lives in very ordinary, unremarkable moments. You miss it because you're expecting something louder. Think of how a child plays. A simple stick becomes a sword, a spaceship, a magic wand. A puddle becomes an ocean. A cardboard box becomes a secret fort. The child's world is not more magical than yours. The child is simply fully there. They are not thinking, is this meaningful? Is this productive? Is this impressive? They are immersed. You once had that same capacity. Life did not remove it. School, shame, comparison, and overthinking slowly buried it. Alan Watts would tell you that the mind is an excellent servant but a terrible master. When your mind becomes your master, it pulls you into constant commentary. This is pointless, this is stupid, this doesn't change anything, this isn't enough. That commentary kills joy before joy has a chance to grow. Imagine trying to enjoy a song while someone sits next to you, criticizing every note. That is what your thinking mind does to your life. If nothing brings you joy anymore, it may be a sign that your old way of living has reached its limit. Your nervous system, your soul, your deeper self is refusing to play the same game. The game of endless comparison, the game of chasing approval, the game of sacrificing the present moment in the hope of one day finally arriving at a mythical, happy version of you. The burnout you feel is not just physical, it is existential. It is your being saying, I cannot live like this anymore. This is where a subtle but powerful shift becomes possible. Instead of asking, how do I make life exciting again? Start with a different question. How can I meet life as it is without demanding that it entertains me? Joy isn't a show that life performs for you. Joy is a side effect of being deeply present, deeply honest, and deeply connected to your existence, even when it's not glamorous. Alan Watts would say, stop trying to hold the river, learn to float. Practically, this means beginning small. Instead of waiting for some huge spiritual awakening, start with one ordinary act, done with full presence. Drink a glass of water and really feel it. Take a slow walk and notice the sensation of your feet on the ground. Put your phone away while you eat. These things sound trivial to an overstimulated mind, but that is the point. They are not designed to excite you, they are designed to reconnect you. When you feel numb or empty, instead of trying to escape it immediately with distraction, try something radically different. Turn toward it. Sit on your bed, close your eyes, and say inwardly, okay, numbness, okay, emptiness. I'm here, show me. You might feel nothing at first. You might feel restless, but if you stay, you may notice that the numbness is not a dead space. It is a crowded room full of unfelt emotions, sadness, exhaustion, anger, disappointment, all waiting for your attention. This turning inward is not self-pity, it is self-honesty. Alan Watts emphasized that we suffer most when we resist what is already true. You are already tired, you are already grieving something, you are already lonely in some part of your being. Pretending otherwise only deepens the split. Paradoxically, when you allow yourself to fully feel what you've been running from, a strange thing happens. The world slowly starts to feel more alive again. Another doorway to joy is to simplify your life. Modern culture equates more options with more happiness, but often the opposite is true. A cluttered life creates a cluttered mind. Too many obligations, too many screens, too many people you don't really like, too many goals that don't belong to you. Start subtracting. Say no more often. Clean one drawer. Delete apps that eat your attention and give you nothing real in return. Into that empty space, presence can quietly return. Alan Watts spoke often about the absurdity of trying to secure ourselves completely in a world that is always changing. The more you try to control everything, the more anxious and joyless you become. A part of your emptiness comes from trying to live as if life were a problem to be solved instead of a mystery to be experienced. Joy does not require you to figure everything out. Joy often appears when you stop insisting on certainty and allow yourself to be surprised again. There is also a deeper dimension that many people ignore. Joy grows when your life points beyond just you. When everything you do is about your image, your status, your comfort, you slowly suffocate. Human beings are not designed to live solely for themselves. Serve something or someone beyond your ego. It could be caring for a child, helping a friend, building something meaningful, contributing your skill to a cause. Alan Watts reminded us that we are not separate islands, we are waves of the same ocean. Joy often returns when you remember that your existence is part of something larger. None of this is a quick fix. It's not a hack, not a mind trick, not a motivational high. In fact, the path back to joy may first take you through uncomfortable territory, grief for wasted years, anger at how you were conditioned, fear that nothing will change. But on the other side of this honesty is a quieter, more grounded flavor of happiness. Not the frantic happiness of chasing, but the calm satisfaction of simply being here, participating in this moment. So if nothing brings you joy anymore, don't rush to medicate the feeling with more noise, more goals, more stimulus. Listen to what the emptiness is trying to tell you, that the way you have been living is too small for who you really are. As Alan Watts would gently say, you are not a separate, anxious self trying to conquer life. You are life temporarily experiencing itself through human eyes. When you remember this, even the simplest moment, a breath, a beam of light on the wall, a shared laugh, can begin to feel strangely, beautifully enough. And maybe, just maybe, that is where joy was waiting all along. Not in some distant perfect future, but in the very ordinary heartbeat of the present you keep overlooking. When you stop chasing joy as a prize and start living as an intimate participant in your own existence, joy stops needing to impress you. It simply returns, quietly, like an old friend you had forgotten you still knew.